Hey there, this is the practice task for Marble Canyon, and I called it long jump record. And the situation is that a long jumper wants to set the world record, and the long jumper can jump about 6 feet high up in the air. So let me draw a cool picture. So we got a long jumper, and he can jump up about 6 feet. And actually, that information actually isn't important for you, so you don't need to worry about that. Now, this is what you do need to worry about is that the equation for his path through the air is this equation right here. How you say that is h equals negative 16 squared plus 6. And the h, let's see here, let's get green. H, this variable here, is his height above the ground. So it's this distance right here. And the t part in this equation is his time in seconds. So obviously you can imagine as someone jumps up in the air, they're going to go from 0 feet off the ground to their maximum height up in the air, and then they're going to start coming back down. And then this is all going to take a certain amount of time. So think at the beginning that is 0 seconds, 0 height. Then in the middle of his maximum time, he's going to be at his maximum height. And then until he gets to the end where he reaches the ground again, and then that's going to be maximum time. So he's going to be on the ground at two different spots, unless he's Superman and he flies off. But anyways, so there's 2 points where he touches the ground. And in this task, it's all about finding those 2 points. These are the most important points in your life right now, those 2 points. And you find it by using this equation here. Okay, so it says, so the high jumper jumps off something and it asks approximately how many seconds does it take for the high jumper to go from his maximum height to the ground. So all we're concerned about is the right side of the graph right now. So we're wondering, if you jump off something, how long does it take for you to hit the ground? That's a very important question in science. So how you find that is you take this equation here and you're going to rewrite it down here. So h equals negative 16t squared plus 6. Okay. Now you need to use something called the quadratic equation. The quadratic equation works like this. Maybe I should just write it first. Yeah. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, in the regular equation, you would have f of x, let me get this calculator out of the way, equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So whatever number is in front of the x squared, that is your a, and whatever number's in front of the x, that is your b, and then whatever number is chilling by itself without an x, that's your c. Okay, in our equation, look that there's something funky. You have a t squared, but you have no t by itself. So we actually don't have any b, but we do have an a. So this negative 16, that's going to be your a. So a equals negative 16. And then b, remember we have no b, so that equals 0. And then c equals 6. Okay, so we got our a, b, and c. Now we just need to put those numbers into our equation. And what this does, what this equation is doing is that it finds out when the jumper touches the ground. This equation will find out when the jumper is touching the ground, at what time. But anyways, so we put the numbers into this equation. So remember, b equals 0. So anywhere we have a b, we're going to put a 0. So we get negative 0 plus or minus the square root of 0 squared minus 4 times a, which is negative 16, and c, which is 6. And that's all over 2 times a, which is negative 16. Okay, so now from this point, it's just a matter of punching in your calculator all these numbers and finding out what comes out. You just need to make sure that you do it correctly and that you're really careful. So let me bring the calculator into the action. Okay, so turn your calculator on. Is it going to let me do it? Okay. Let me clear. Alright, so the first thing is that we have negative 0, which is just 0. There's no such thing as negative 0. And that's plus or minus. And we can actually just get rid of this 0. Well, I'll leave it on there for a second, just so you don't get confused. And then you got the square root of 0 squared, which is just 0. And then minus 4 times 16 times 6. So what you're going to do is you have this negative right here. So that's a negative 4 times negative 16 times 6. And that's 384. Notice that this equation has a negative and a negative. Negative 4 times negative 16 equals a positive number. So that's going to be a positive 384. Then that's all over 2 times negative 16. So you type 2 times negative 16, and that equals negative 32. Whoa. Okay, so we got 0 plus or minus square root of 0 plus 384 over square root over negative 32. So let's clean this up a little bit. This is going to equal 0. Oh, let's just get rid of 0. So let's just do plus or minus the square root of 384. So we don't need these zeros anymore. And then that's all over negative 32. Now let's approximate the square root of 384. So take square root 384 equals 19.596. So that equals plus or minus 19.59, and I'm just going to round this to 6. All over negative 32. Okay, now we got this plus or minus. So that's the next thing to focus on. You need to split this equation up since you have a plus or minus. So you're going to have two different equations. One is going to be the positive, and one is going to be the negative. Okay, so this one, if we calculate that, positive 19.596 divided by negative 32, that equals negative 0.6124. And on this side, if you calculate that, that'd be negative 119.596 divided by negative 32. That equals positive 0.6124. So your answers are T t, because our independent variable is a t, got that? Equals a positive and negative, so equals negative 0.06124, and it equals a positive 0.6124. Okay, the thing is that we're not concerned about the negative version of the time because you can't have negative seconds. So we don't need that guy. So what we are looking for is the positive one, which just says t equals 0.6124 seconds. So that is how long it takes for our high jumper to hit the ground in this situation. Okay, so that is the first problem. Now if you understood that, now let's go on to the second problem.